All right, so you'll have to follow up here. I'm not going to project it to your screens. But in this particular problem, what you're told is that these two boxes have the same volume. Okay, so when you look at the box B, you have enough information there to determine your total volume for B. So we're going to start with that one. We'll find what the volume is for that, and then we'll use that to help find the other measurements for box A. So when we look at this figure right here, we're told that these are isosceles trapezoids. Okay, so when we draw in this triangle right here, we know that it's going to have a same triangle on the other side. Okay, and so if you're looking at this height of 8 and this hypotenuse of 10, what does that mean this leg here has to be? Here we have 2 times 5, 2 times 4, so this is going to be 2 times 3, right? It's a 3, 4, 5 common triple. So 2 times 3 is 6. So that means each of these legs is 6. If the whole thing is 18, what's left for this middle portion? 6. And so that gives you this other base up here. And so that was the last piece of information you need to find the volume. And so if you calculate this, the volume is capital B, capital H. The base shape is a trapezoid, so we'll use the area formula 1/2, the sum of the bases, times the height of the trapezoid, all times the height of that whole solid. And so again, if we actually now plug in the values that we have base 1 is 6, base 2 is 18, the height of this is 8, and the height of the solid is the total distance between those two parallel and congruent bases, so 22. Okay, so if I calculate this, half of 22 is 11. I can go ahead and calculate these measurements. Okay, so if I calculate this, I have 6 plus 18 is 24 times 8 times 11, and that gives me my volume of 2112. So both of these boxes are going to have the exact same volume, and again, this is cubic inches. Okay, so once we know what the volume is, we can now look at this first box. So box A is going to have a volume also capital B, capital H, but this time the base shape is a triangle, right? Or actually, if it tells you, I'm going to leave capital B for right now. Our height of this is 15, okay, and our volume we know is 2112. What this allows me to do just right here, and I'm going to kind of do it in separate steps. If I divide by 15, so I take this number and divide by 15. And when I divide by 15, I get this to be 140.8. So that's the total area for this base shape, is 140.8. Okay, so my last thing, in order to find the total surface area of box A, I know my surface area is going to be my 2 triangles plus my, twice the base plus my perimeter times the height of the whole solid. So I have my B value. My B value here is 140.8, so I take 2 times 140.8 plus, I need to know my perimeter, and then times the height of the whole thing, which is 15. Okay, so in order for me to find the perimeter, I need to know what each side length is for this triangle. Well, you're told it's an equilateral triangle, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that here separately. Okay, so all of these are the same length side. Okay, I know that the total area of this triangle is 140.8. So if I drew in my altitude here, I know that I'm dealing with the side x, 2x, x root 3. Okay, and so my area formula is 1/2 base times height. My base is this whole length, 2x. My height is x root 3. And my area itself was set equal to 140.8. Okay, so if I calculate and solve for x here, and the way that I do that, my 2's cancel. If I divide by root 3, I'm left with x squared is equal to, and I'll go ahead and take 140.8 and divide by root 3. I'll put it in decimal form, so my answer is as a decimal. So I get about 81.29. I'm going to extract the square root to solve for x. So I'll take the square root of this number here. And I get about 9.02. And so that's my approximate x value. So when I look at this figure right here, remember x is just half of that side length. So I need to double this. So if I double this length right here, that gives me this whole measure of each side, about 18.03. And how many of those sides form the perimeter of that triangle? So we multiply this by 3, and that gives me the number that I'm going to use to calculate right here. About 54.1 is the perimeter of that shape. And so now if I multiply that by 15, and then add that to 2 times 140.8, and that's going to give me my overall surface area of 1093.5. Again, here the units would be inches. It's an area, so it's 2 dimensions. Oh, it asks you to the nearest tenth, sorry. So 1093.1. Does that work better?